Our top story today, the murder trial of a Colorado man accused of beating his own fiancée to death on Thanksgiving this time last year. Testimony will continue at any moment. Prosecutors are trying to convict Patrick Frazee in the murder of Kelsey Barrett. Let's get you caught up on some of the opening statements. According to our affiliate, KMGH, the prosecution laid out their motive for the murder, that Frazee wanted sole custody of the couple's daughter, and he got his ex-girlfriend Crystal Kenny to help carry out the crime. The defense tried to poke holes in that by attacking the credibility of Kenny. That's the state's top witness. They argued she was the one who destroyed the evidence, and she was the one who is lying to officials. Barrett's mother was the first witness to be called. She's expected to continue her testimony this morning. Let's bring in trial attorney Misty Marris on this story. Misty, can you sort of lay out your interpretation on what we've seen so far? And meaning, where are the defense and the prosecution going to go in this case?
Absolutely. So the prosecution has made it pretty clear that their case hinges on Crystal Lee Kenny's testimony. Now, remember, this is Frazee's alleged girlfriend at the time. So Crystal Lee Kenny's testimony is going to be critical to the case. Prosecutors also said that they have some cell phone evidence that's going to be key as they move forward. Now, I can tell from the prosecutor's opening statement that they're definitely playing up on some of the emotion. And we saw this from the first witness that took the stand, which is Kelsey's mother. They're talking about how he's a cold-hearted, manipulative man. Then Kelsey's mother takes the stand, really humanizes Kelsey. This conversation, the last conversation that they had where Kelsey's happy talking about shopping for Christmas and what she's going to cook for Thanksgiving. So the prosecutor's playing up on that emotional part and relying on the testimony of Crystal. Now, the defense says you got to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. And Crystal, as your star witness, not so great because she's lied many times. Her story has been inconsistent. And now the jury is expected to believe someone when they have a motivation to save their own skin with a deal with prosecutors in return for testimony against Frazee. So those are the two dynamics we're going to see play out in the courtroom.
Right. And that brings me to my next question, because you brought up the fact that the defense is just going to slam her, right? I mean, they are going to do everything they can to take away credibility, to say you had all these opportunities to come forward, because he had multiple attempts or thoughts of ways that he wanted to take his fiance's life. That being said, is it going to be, and I know you mentioned this last hour, the fact that there's not this overwhelming amount of evidence of a crime scene, right? There is some DNA, but there's no body.
Right.
So how is that going to play out?
Well, look, it's all going to hinge on whether the jury actually believes Crystal Lee Kenny. As you pointed out, they're going to hammer her. They're going to look at every inconsistency. They're going to say, you're testifying now that Frazee wanted you to murder his wife 3 times. Well, where were you then? Why didn't you call the police then? Why is it now only when you've struck a deal with prosecutors that you come forward and tell the story? That's where the defense is going to go. Look, cases without forensic evidence are difficult. In the age of, of ICS and all these CSI type shows, jurors expect to see something more direct to link a murderer to an alleged murder. So it's going to be tough. But look, what the prosecution has, they have this witness. If the jury believes Crystal, then Frazee gets convicted. They also said they have some cell phone evidence. And look, there was evidence of an accelerant on the property, although no body was found, as you pointed out. To the extent the argument is the body was burned, that's going to be a critical piece of evidence. But again, that's why prosecutors here have presented a motive, Elizabeth, because, look, you don't have to show a motive as a prosecutor. You don't have to say that. They did that because they want all of these facts together to paint this picture of what happened to Kelsey, and that's where this trial is going.
So when we see Crystal Lee Kenny take the stand, I assume that that's when we're going to see the fireworks, because we have Kelsey Barrett's mother taking the stand today, and she obviously testified on Friday. But that's really sort of laying the groundwork, getting the emotional side of things, maybe the background to their marriage, but they really want to see Kenny up there.
Absolutely. They want to see Kenny up there. As you said, yes, this is the background of their marriage. This all feeds into motive. What was the marriage like? What was the relationship like? Were there problems? When did the problems begin? Those are all critical pieces. Again, humanizing Kelsey, a mother on the stand who lost her daughter. I mean, that tugs at everyone's heartstrings, of course. Now, we're going to see on cross-examination, the defense has to toe a fine line because you don't want to go too hard after this woman who has lost her child. But you do have to point out any inconsistencies in her testimony regarding the marriage, and that's going to be something we'll see as cross-examination unfolds today and probably tomorrow. But as you said, Crystal Lee Kenny, she's the key witness here. How her testimony goes, that's going to be the barometer and the predictor of where this trial ends up, whether it's an acquittal or in a conviction.
And you said it multiple times. You just need that shred of reasonable doubt for one juror, right? I mean, it's yes. all it takes.
Right. One juror says, nope, I'm not buying it. And that's where you get your reasonable doubt, and that's where you get your acquittal. So we'll see how it all plays out.
All right. Misty Marris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.